Good morning, Breakfast Clubbers. I'm here on the east coast of England today. Just behind me is the small seaside town of Scarborough. I'm here to check out a cafe just to the left of me off camera. It's Oliver's on the Mount. I've heard they do a good full English breakfast, so we're going to check it out. Let's go. Yes, today I'm at the seaside again, on the east side of the country this time, in Scarborough, North Yorkshire. I'm here to check out the full English breakfast at this very popular restaurant, which is situated trackside at the only natural road racing track in England. Aside from the veggie option, there's just one option for a full English on the menu, which consists of Cumberland sausage patty, sweet cured streaky bacon, mushrooms, tomatoes, fried eggs, hash brown, baked beans, and toast. Black pudding is also available, an additional cost of 50p. Drinks are also extra, and as usual, it's a cup of tea for me, priced at £2.20. As I take my seat and admire a barely visible through the mist view across Scarborough Bay, the restaurant begins to fill and my breakfast arrives. So it's time to tuck in. Perfect.
Any sauces for you?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Enjoy.
That's great, cheers. Now this is a glorious professional looking breakfast, kind that stops you in your tracks before the first bite. The colours are vibrant and beautifully balanced with a deep red of the grilled vine tomatoes, glowing against the dark richness of the black pudding. The fried eggs are perched proudly atop a slice of toast, adding height and visual flair, and the streaky bacon is perfectly crisped. Every item feels deliberately placed, with the beans tucked neatly into their bowl and the mushrooms, sausage patty and hash brown forming a warm, inviting frame. Visually striking from every angle. Score 10 out of 10. Let's start with something bright and bold then. It's the tomatoes. We've got 4 roasted tomatoes still on the vine and they look fantastic on the plate. They're delicately cooked, holding their shape well, and cutting in shows they're hot and juicy without being overdone. The unexpectedly sweet flavour really stood out, giving them a freshness and balance you don't often get with breakfast tomatoes. Eaten whole, they give a satisfying pop in the mouth as the juices release. I absolutely love these. Top marks again. Score 10 out of 10. Moving over to something a little earthier now, the mushrooms. We've got a good handful of medium-sized whole button mushrooms, simply prepared and finished with a light touch of ground pepper. Cutting in shows they've been cooked with care, still firm with a pleasingly dense texture, and none of that excess moisture you sometimes get when they're left on the heat too long. They don't try to steal the spotlight, but they're done well and add a solid, satisfying element to the breakfast. Score 9 out of 10. Time to check in on the bacon. And we've got 2 rashers of beautifully cooked streaky bacon here, and they're about as close to perfect as you could hope for. The colour is spot on, the fatty edges have crisped up nicely, and the rest of the rasher still holds on to that welcome bit of moisture. There's a proper satisfying crunch when you bite in, and the flavour brings that lovely mix of sweet and salty. If there's one tiny gripe, it's simply that the plate could have happily carried another rasher or 2. After all, you can never have too much of a good thing. Score 10 out of 10. Next up, the eggs. We've got 2 fresh looking fried eggs here, and that's clear from the thick whites, which are fully set without going overly firm. They're finished with a touch of greenery for garnish, and although the yolks are on the smaller side, they've been lightly basted to give them a smooth, even finish. Cutting in shows that hot, golden runniness you always hope for, ready for the usual dipping of toast and hash brown. Score 8 out of 10. Time to shift focus to the toast. We've got a single slice of thick bloomer toast here, lightly toasted with just a few griddle marks visible towards the bottom. There's a small burnt patch in that same area, not enough to spoil anything, but it does nudge the score down a touch. The freshness of the bread along with the oil that's soaked in from the eggs has softened it nicely, and on its own, it has that thick, doughy bite that really shows how fresh it is. It works well alongside the egg and beans, and is ideal for soaking up the last of that bean juice. Score 8 out of 10. Now for the crispy corner of the plate, we've got a single thick hash brown, golden in colour and cooked spot on. Here's a proper crunchy outer layer with plenty of shredded potato packed inside, giving it a satisfying texture when you bite in. It does exactly what you want a hash brown to do, and as always, it pairs nicely with the egg. Score 8 out of 10. Right then, time to unleash the beans. And it's a generous portion of baked beans which has arrived in a little ramekin, and they're properly piping hot. The sauce has a nice thickness to it, with a deep, rounded flavour that isn't pushed too far on the sweetness. The beans themselves have a good fibrous bite, suggesting a decent quality brand. I wouldn't be surprised if we're in 57 varieties territory here. And for this style of full English, serving him in that ramekin rather than straight on the plate feels like the right call. A simple item, but done exactly right. Score 10 out of 10. Onto something a little richer. the black pudding. It's a nice thick rounder black pudding here, crisped and curled on one side, a little more than the other, suggesting that side's taken most of the heat during the cook. There's a good crisp on the top and outer edges, and cutting in shows it's soft and moist with a rich burgundy colouring and large visible chunks of pork fat. Score 8 out of 10. And now, the star of the show, the sausage patty. And what we've got here is a homemade sausage patty, and it has that instantly mouth-watering look. The same feeling you get when you see a really good burger, and you just know it's going to hit the spot. And that's exactly why I saved it for last, and I was absolutely right to do so. It's cooked perfectly, with a lovely colouring on both sides, and cutting in shows meat that's soft, thick in texture, and seasoned beautifully with a classic Cumberland blend. The owner later explained they source the meat from a local butcher, mix in the seasoning themselves, and cook each patty fresh to order. No batches sitting around, no wastage, just a freshly cooked patty every time. And you can really taste the difference. Top marks from me, the flavour genuinely blew me away. Score 10 out of 10. Now let's talk value for money. Priced at £13.50, this sits about where you'd expect for a breakfast built on ingredients of this quality, and not a single item fell below expectations. As for the extra cost on the black pudding, I still feel it should be included as standard, but I do understand the logic. Now I've come away feeling genuinely satisfied today, having enjoyed every aspect of the breakfast, and I'd happily return. And for full disclosure, the owner did offer a 50% discount today, which is a very generous gesture indeed, but it was politely declined, as one of the golden rules of this channel is that I pay in full wherever possible. Now some may disagree with the score here, but taking everything into account, I've no hesitation in giving this top marks for value. Score 10 out of 10. Let's go over the missing items now then. No fried bread today, so that's just a single penalty point deduction off the overall tally. And talking the tally, after chucking those scores into the number cruncher, Oliver's on the Mount comes out with a total of 101 points out of a maximum of 110. And converting that into percentage, today's final Breakfast Club score is 91.8%, officially giving us the very first breakfast to break into our perfect rating bracket. A genuinely landmark moment for the channel, and I'm sure you'll agree, reason for a little celebration on our part. And looking at the leaderboard now, there'll be no surprises after hearing that result. After almost a full year at the top for Idle Bakery, we finally have a new number one. A huge achievement, and one that I think many of you will agree is thoroughly deserved. Moments like this don't come around often, and this one has set a new benchmark. So that brings us to the end of today's review, and what a thoroughly enjoyable breakfast it turned out to be. It's the kind of visit that reminds me why I started this channel in the first place, celebrating the places that take real pride in what they serve. I also want to give my personal thanks to the owner for having me in today. Only when I got home and looked over the receipt did I notice he hadn't charged me for the 2 cups of tea I had, nor for the extra black pudding. A very kind gesture, and one I genuinely appreciate. And before heading out, I'll admit I was completely enticed by that gourmet cake counter. Everything looked far too good to ignore, so I treated myself and the missus to a little something for later on. Sweet ending to a cracking visit. So if you've enjoyed this video and you like what we're doing, the best way to support us is to like, share and subscribe. It's free to do and really helps the channel grow. And as always, may your bacon be sizzling, your fried bread golden and your yolks runny. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out one of our other reviews showing on screen right now. So that was my breakfast here at Oliver's on the Mount this morning. What do you think of that one? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.